Hey guys, what is up? It's Friendly Neighborhood Wiggers here, and I'm going to bring you this video, which is going to be an overview of the Rekindling Soul update. The patch notes were just released a couple minutes ago, and this patch looks really hype. I haven't looked over all of the changes, just down to Elder Titan so far, so there's still a ton that I haven't read yet, but I'm just so excited that I just want to get right into it. So, first off, as you'll see, this is the new Shadow Fiend model, and here's the Arcana that's also releasing with it. This is just like an overview of the hero. And the Arcana makes all of his stuff fiery and has an alternate voice, animations and stuff. And yeah, just pretty cool overall. Then there will be this treasure chest, which is some stuff, some pretty generic stuff. So here's the biggest stuff right here, and we'll go into it just right away. So the map is getting a couple changes, mostly to trees, but near the bottom rune, a very large geography change that you can kind of see here. There will be pictures a little bit later on. A new bounty rune has been added, which is it'll give experience in gold, and it will always spawn at one of the two rune spots. Every 2 minutes, rune will spawn, and it'll be the normal rune, and then at the other spot there will be the bounty rune every time. So there will never be, horrible experiences where the other guy just gets every single rune and you have to bottle crow the whole time and you just lose. Apparently Crimson Guard has been added to the game. I actually don't remember what this did, but yeah. So I already read the reworked Bloodseeker, not the reworked Phantom Lancer yet, so we're gonna get a little confused when we get there. But here is the actual change log. So the first changes are to Fountain. Basically, this is just going to decrease fountain camping. It's just been generic. It's just generic numbers changes, and the fountain is now at a higher elevation, so you won't be able to see into it. Okay, so then here is the big stuff. So all this is just changed to the terrain, and here are the pictures. So this is the bottom rune spot. As you can see, Roshan, instead of being around here, is over here. I assume this right here is the ancient camp, and then there's the rune spot. And as you can see, even the stairs over here have been changed a little bit, so this ramp is a lot wider and more open. And that's that spot, and yeah, here's a little higher up. Again, I think this is the ancient spot. And as you can see, there's a lot more pathways in these trees, so you won't have to really cut as much, as well as over here. You won't really have to cut too many trees down to get around. Shopkeepers in the same spot. Here's the spot by the Radiant Tier 2 on the offlane. The main difference is this pathway into the secret shop. This is both a good and a bad thing for the Radiant offlane. I think the biggest part about it is that if you are sitting up here, you can very easily get ganked from this side, and the tower won't start shooting until they start hitting you. So it could be good, could be bad. Who knows? This shot, I'm not sure what it's trying to show off. It's like the same thing. I guess here is also a pathway right here that you can see a little bit better here. Yeah, no, this screenshot doesn't really show much, but okay, then here's the bigger, like this is probably the biggest difference, right? Is this giant chunk of trees that used to have one single pathway through it if you cut a tree, or more if you cut more trees, now is just a massive pathways and has this little fork in it, so you can go down and up, and then there's a little triangle of trees, bunch, right? So it's just 3 different bunches of trees now. And then over here it looks like you can actually go all the way through this without cutting trees. So the biggest difference I'm seeing with all these is that you don't really need tangos nearly as much to cut trees down to maneuver into juke spots. And then here's the details on the bounty rune. 2 runes now spawn in the river every 2 minutes. One of them will always be a bounty rune. Runes are replaced every 2 minutes if they are not picked up. So this is also a bigger change. So the cool thing about this, and here's what it says, by the way. I think I understand what it means, but I'm not entirely sure. It grants 50 XP plus 5 per minute and 50 gold plus 2 per minute. Sorry about the dogs, by the way. They might just find something to bark at. So, I don't know, it's confusing to me. Really, I'm so sorry, but this is kind of confusing to me, because I'm not sure if it gives you like a buff that lasts like a minute or something and just gives you that, or what? I don't know. I am actually unsure of what that means. It's kind of hard for me to parse that info, I guess. Denied creeps are now going to give less XP. Instead of giving a flat 36 per unit, they're going to give 50% of what their standard XP is. Or no. Wait. Initial creep wave. If the creep... Wait. That's so different from what it's trying to say. Instead of a constant 36. Oh, I see. The 144 is if you currently deny every creep, 144 is what you get, because that's 36 times 4. Okay, so yeah, they used to give 36 per creep no matter what, just flat, but now they're going to give 50% XP per creep, which is an overall decrease. Here's a couple like AoE things that are changed that aren't really that huge. They're just small little tweaks to make it a little different. Glyph of Fortification cooldown is now refreshed whenever you lose a Tier 1 tower. Tier 2 towers armor increased from 20 to 25. Tower bounty gold for destroying Tier 1, 2, 3, 4 reduced. Overall, just a pretty big reduction, and denied is 50%. And in Captain's mode, the third ban phase order is swapped, and that's just a small thing. With which team bans first, that's it. So these big ones are to try to, I guess, discourage the death ball strategy. A lot of people are kind of like misunderstanding what death ball actually is or whatever, but this is definitely discouraging death ball strategy. You're getting less bounty overall, like significantly less bounty just by doing it, and the tier 2 towers are significantly harder to destroy. So, and then obviously the glyph change is going to be unique. I'm not actually sure how big of an impact that'll have yet, but it does mean that you can fort every single one of your T1 towers if they're 5-man pushing it. You can do it every time, no matter how fast they move to the next one. Or if they're just pushing down a lane that has a tier 1 and a tier 2, you can fort the tier 1, delay them, they kill it, and they want to go for tier 2, you can glyph again. So it's, you know, it could definitely have a pretty big impact on 5-man early pushes. So we'll see how that works. So reworked how alt pick works in ranked matchmaking. So picking starts after a 35-second strategy period, so you can talk to your teammates in the first 35 seconds. Teams alternate picking. Whenever it is a team's turn to pick, anyone on that team can pick for themselves. Teams have up to 30 seconds to pick a hero. If the timer expires, each player that hasn't selected a hero will lose 2 gold per second. The selection will stay on this team until a hero is picked. So the way it works is that Radiant, let's say, gets the first pick. So Radiant, first pick, they have 30 seconds, right? In that 30-second window, any one of the 5 players can choose, right? They'll pick a hero. It'll pass over to Dire, same 30-second period. Let's say Dire not a single one of the 5 people picks a hero in that 30 seconds. Then all 5 players will start losing 2 gold per second until at least one of them picks a hero. And then it'll pass back to Radiant, and then it'll repeat until, you know, each team has 5 picks, and that's that. So that's pretty much the idea behind it. I think it'll be cool. Initial starting team is random, but known at the end of the strategy period. If a team has not picked and continued losing gold for more than 30 seconds, a player that hasn't picked will be assigned a random hero, and the turn will resume to the other team. So this is also discouraging people who haven't picked. So this is actually huge. This changes ranked all pick significantly. It's still all pick, but it definitely allows your team to actually strategize more, and there won't be any of the, you know, tactical DCs or pauses before creep spawn because somebody hasn't picked and they want to counter pick or whatever. Now it's just you have this time period. If not, you lose a lot of gold, and then if you go over 60 gold lost or 30 seconds, then you just get randomed. Okay. Moving on, Aegis duration decreased from 6 minutes to 5. That's a good change. Roshan gets a little bit better, his slam at least. This one, all of the creeps in the jungle are getting a little bit better-ish. So the aura from the centaurs, the attack speed aura, is getting swapped over to hellbears, and thus their attack speed is being decreased slightly. But then most other creeps are getting their attack time improved or their health improved. The only other like nerf is the attack range for the banishers is decreasing significantly. And that's pretty much it. So all of them are just getting slight buffs. Jungle's going to be a little bit stronger. Nothing too huge, but little tweaks here and there. Fix some rare edge cases with pathing malfunctioning. Good, just good. Now a lot more abilities can be used on spell immune allies. Ice Armor, Surge, Alacrity, Nature's Guise, Chakra Magic, Recall, and Miscoil. Now all these are properly dispelled, or properly dispellable rather, which is good because all of these are things that are pretty broken when you can't dispel them. Dark Pact, Kraken Shell, Aphotic Shield, Press the Attack, Time Lapse no longer have a special condition for purging the following otherwise unpurgeable spells: Poison Nova, Heaven's Halberd, and Snare, Eye of Scotty Slow. So I guess they had special conditions for purging. I'm not actually entirely sure what they were. Weird though. Anyway, now we get to move on to the meat and potatoes of the patch, and we've already been going 11 minutes and we're not even into the heroes, so let's get going. Abaddon, Miscoil, mana cost rescaled, so cheaper at earlier levels. All 3 of the first levels, it's cheaper mana cost, and then only gets 5 extra mana on the 4th, so good buff. Probably needed. Just very small tweak. Acid Spray, the armor reduction increased by 1 armor at every level. So that's a good change. Alchemist is a little bit weak right now. Animage base strength increased from 20 to 22. A lot harder to gank early game. I like it. Counter Helix chance to activate increased by 3%, which is pretty significant. I think people are underestimating how significant this change is. I think it'll be a nice buff to Axe, obviously, followed by a nerf, but not really a nerf, just a little, change. Culling Blade no longer ignores Lincoln Sphere, so now if you want to Culling Blade somebody, you're gonna have to, battle hunger them first or whatever. So yeah, not that bad. Here's a cool change: Aghanim Scepter Fiend's Grip now also causes anyone who attacks Bane while he is channeling to be afflicted with Nightmare. This is just attacks Bane, not cast a spell. So if you try to stop Bane, if you try to kill Bane specifically while he's Fiend's Gripping somebody, if he has an Ags, then you will get Nightmared, right? So I think that's a really cool change. I think it's a nice buff to Ags. It still probably won't be built. Bane is played like pretty much as a pretty hard 5, but maybe this will open the door for Bane to be played a little bit different, so that could be cool. Batrider, Flaming Lasso cooldown increased from 90, 70, 50 to 90, 75, 60. Good nerf, needed nerf. 50-second cooldown on a kill 1 hero spell is pretty strong. Wild Axes, damage type from composite to physical. This is actually a buff. I don't think a lot of people realize this. Composite is a worse damage type than physical because it's reduced by magic resist, but like that's the only difference. And then, they changed the damage to be 20 lower on all ranks to compensate for the fact that it's a significantly better damage type. But it's still, it's technically 40 at all levels if you hit with both axes, but still, I think it's necessary if they're changing the damage type, so cool. A couple little tweaks to Primal Roar, specifically the pushback effect on people is just getting a little bit better. So Roar, small buff, sure. So now, Bloodseeker, removed from Captain's Mode. Base movement speed from 300 to 290. Alright, so we're going to see the reworked Bloodseeker right here. It's interesting. So you all know the old Blood Rage silences a dude, makes him hit stronger, purges, right? New Blood Rage amplifies all damage taken and dealt, including spells. A hero affected by the Blood Rage buff who kills a unit will be healed for 25% of the dying unit's max HP. However, heroes affected by Blood Rage when killed will heal 25% of their max health to their killer. Alright, so it basically means you turn somebody and people who hit him into a Bloodseeker, essentially. So they'll essentially get Bloodbath when they either kill or get killed. No longer dispels. The buff can be dispelled. The duration is increased significantly, 9, 10, 11, 12. Amplified damage up to 40% at the max level. No mana cost. 6-second cooldown. 0.2 cast point. That's even a better cast point than the improved cast point of Old Blood Rage. Can target spell immune, but spell immunity does remove it. This no longer silences or does damage over time. Alright, so this turns Bloodseeker into, like, almost a support hero. Because you can just cast this on, like, any of your teammates, right? And just make them murder somebody, right? So, cool things. Obviously, everybody's going like, oh, Laguna Blade, Finger of Death, right? That's cool stuff. But, what about Sniper? If Sniper's playing well, he's just like sitting behind the back lines. If you're amping his overall damage by 40%, including Shrapnel and including Assassinate, that is insane, right? And it has twice the duration of cooldown, so you can keep it on 2 people permanently, right? Sure, it amps the damage they take, which you could put it one buff on Sniper and the other buff on, like, I don't know, Tinker on the enemy team, right? And then Sniper shoots Tinker, and then Tinker just takes 5,000 damage from Assassinate or something. I don't know. It seems really, really powerful in the right hands. With coordination, I think it's very, very, very strong. Okay, so replaced Bloodbath with new active ability, Bloodright. Targets an area, an effect that is visible to enemies appears on the ground. After 3 seconds, enemies in the area are damaged and silenced. The AoE is 600, cast range is 1500, so that essentially means that you can hit somebody who's 1800 range from you, because AoE is in... Well, no, is that actually a radius or I can't tell if that's a radius or diameter. Normally it's radius, so if that's the case, you can hit somebody 2100 units away. It does pure damage, up to 240, and it silences for 6 seconds, has a 20-second cooldown, 100 mana cost. I think it could be really good. The thing that's scaring me is that this is huge synergy with Faceless Void. Like, both of his new spells are like huge synergy with Faceless Void. So, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Thirst, visibility and true sight granted only when the target is at or below 30% instead of 50-25. And Thirst now shows a debuff and a visible effect to the enemy when they are revealed. The movement and damage bonuses are now proportional to how low the enemy's health is, and it's linear. So, and Thirst bonuses are independent from the vision granted at 30%. So, this means that it gradually provides the bonus from 0 at 100% to full bonus at 1%. So that means if an enemy hero is missing 10% of their health, you're going to get 10% of the Thirst effect from that hero. So it is significantly stronger, in my opinion at least, because you're always going to have some amount of Thirst effect. Even if you don't have the vision, you have the bonus speed and damage, which is why his base move speed was reduced by 10. Movement speed and damage bonus increased from, just scaling it to work better with the new linear scaling. Rupture no longer deals initial damage, and the duration is increased to 12 seconds, and the cooldown reduced to 60 at all levels. So what this basically means is that it's going to be, you're not going to get that initial thud, right? You're not going to get the initial like pop of damage, but it lasts longer, so people are either going to have to stay put longer or actually run it off, or they're just going to pretty much they're just going to TP out, but that's why you get teammates. So then we got Bounty Hunter. Shuriken Toss now bounces to all tracked units within a 900 range. So I don't know if this means it's going to be like an actual bouncing spell, where it's going to start on the guy you throw it at and then bounce, 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 or if it's just going to like be a fan of knives to every tracked unit. I think it's the former, but we'll see. We don't actually know yet, so kind of vague patch notes sometimes. Brewmaster Drunken Brawler's critical strike / evasion timer increased from 10 to 16, 14, 12, 10. This is a good nerf. Brewmaster's a little bit strong in the laning phase because every 10 seconds, if he just doesn't hit something, he can walk up and crit you. So now it's going to make his early laning phase a little bit weaker without touching the late game. So that's cool. So Broodmother, bunch of changes to spin webs to make it a little bit better, and by a little bit I actually mean a lot. it's a lot more intuitive to use now. Instead of having a 30-second cooldown, you get charges that have a 40-second replenish time, and the charges are based on how, what the level is, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 with the level. And it still has a max of 2, 4, 6, 8 webs total, but this means that you can place half of your webs just, by storing them, right? Without having to worry about it. So yeah, basically it means that if you're moving to a different lane, you can put down half of your new webs in that lane without, having to spend 30 seconds every single web, right? So it's pretty cool. The enter time enter hidden mode. Time to enter hidden mode after taking damage increased from 3 to 6 seconds. Slight nerf. It'll make sense when you see. Spin web movement speed bonus doubled whenever she's in hidden mode. So after those 6 seconds, you get double the movement speed bonus. The phasing and speed bonus now works on spiderlings. I'm not sure about this. The way they're phrasing it, I'm not sure if that includes the free pathing. Probably not. But I think they already technically get the phasing effect, so I'm actually unsure. Regardless, speed bonus, it now works on spiderlings, so that's cool. Spin webs are now selectable and have an ability to destroy themselves. So another thing to just, help you out when you're moving webs and stuff. Instead of it, putting down your 9th web, instead of it deleting the first web you can get rid of, you can get rid of the least valuable web and then place your 8th one, right? If that makes sense. It can now be cast from anywhere as long as the new web touches another. This is a really cool change. This means that you could be in top lane, have one web in bottom lane, and then make a second web in bottom lane without going there, right? You can just put it down as long as it's touching the first web. So there's that. That's cool. And then whenever she's taken out of spin webs, free pathing, she destroys nearby trees. This just helps her not get stuck, because there are definitely ways to get stuck as it is. So a lot of quality of life changes. Small nerf here accompanied with a buff. So we'll see how this balances her out. Centaur War Runner Stampede mana cost increased from 80 to 100. Good nerf. It's pretty ridiculous having 80 mana, 60-second cool. It's not 60 seconds, is it? It's like 80, I think. It's like 120, 180. Regardless, mana nerf, good. Illusions from CK's ultimate now going to last an extra 10 seconds, which is huge. Definitely a needed buff. Chen Penitence duration rebalanced. So instead of flat 7, it actually scales. Slow and damage amplification rebalanced to be better at early levels, but weaker at later levels. Now amplifies the damage source directly instead of attempting to re-deal a percentage of the damage taken as physical damage. So I think this is just like a very technical kind of making Penitence work properly. Cast range increased by 200. Holy Persuasion is no longer restricted from targeting spell immune neutral creeps. This means that you could steal a Mud Golem, so that's cool. Aghanim Scepter now allows Holy Persuasion to target ancient creeps, maximum 1 ancient creep per level of Hand of God. So that's really good. Maybe Aghanim Scepter now core again. I think this is actually really, really broken, but we'll see. We'll find out. Searing Arrows is no longer an attack modifier. That means you can actually build things other than Scotty on Clinks, and it will be awesome, like Diffusal Blade would be broken, but we'll see. I think they're just going to probably change most current orb effects to not orbs just to balance it out, right? Who knows? Now Hookshot actually pulls you to neutrals. The old way it was it would hit neutrals and then you wouldn't get pulled to them. Frostbite damage interval from 70 per 1 second to 50 per 0.5 seconds. That means the total damage is pretty high, and it still lasts 10 seconds on neutral creeps. This means that you're dealing 1,000 damage to neutral creeps instead of the previous 700. So that's cool. The explosion on Freezing Field, bigger, whatever. Keep buffing the skill. Here's a little, little tongue-in-cheek we got here. Alright, so the cooldown rate scaled from 28.0 to 28 seconds. Yep. Aghanim Scepter Weave armor reduction per second increased just a little bit. I like it. Makes Aghanim Scepter more worth it. Exorcism cooldown increased by 20 seconds. Sure. Good nerf. Doom now requires Aghanim Scepter to disable passives. That is a really good nerf. I like it a lot. So now you'll still be able to bash. You'll still be able to, you know, bristleback, be bristleback, stuff like that. You know, passives just still work now, unless it gets Ags. So also buffing Aghanim Scepter for Doom. Also, cast point increased from 0.3 to 0.5. This was a nerf I talked about that I think would have been good, and it turns out that it is. So we'll see. I think it's a really good nerf. So this will probably make Doom a little bit less viable to always pick. Frost Arrow slow increased at early levels, and then scales up to same at the final level. Just makes it more linear as well. Or at least make more sense, because 37/60 that makes no sense. Alright, Earth Spirit. Added Aghanim Scepter. Grants Earth Spirit a new ability, Enchant Remnant, which lets him temporarily convert a hero into a stone remnant. This is stupid! This is dumb! This is broken! Anyway, converts an allied enemy hero, allied or enemy hero, not self, into a stone remnant for 3 seconds. The target behaves like a stone remnant fully until the duration is over. When the duration ends, the remnant shatters, releasing the hero while dealing 300 damage in a 300 radius. Cast range 600. Good. Thank God it's not like 1,000. Mana cost 150. Cooldown 45. This is broken. This is absolutely broken. It acts like any other remnant. It's invulnerable. They can't do anything. They absolutely nothing. So, and they can be used with skills. So I want to talk about this. All right, I play Earth Spirit a bit, right? This is broken. This is so broken. All right, imagine magnetizing, you know, one unit, dropping a rock. It's now in 5 units. You roll like into one of them, slowing all of the units, right? Because you rolled into one, and then you activate this on like the farthest back one. Not only will that refresh magnetize on everybody, but that guy now just sits there for 3 seconds for your team to run up, and then when he explodes, if anybody else is still nearby, they take 1,000,000 damage. And you can even pull him if you target an enemy with this. If you just make an enemy a rock, pull them towards you, walk in front of them and kick them back towards your team, they just traveled like, I guess it's 600 plus the kick distance. They traveled like nearly 2k units backwards towards your team, and then when they after 3 seconds they pop and take damage. I don't know. This seems so broken to me, like the most broken ever. Anyway. Boulder Smash unit targeting now only selects units, so this is just fixing the way that targeting would work with the spell, which is a good thing, because it used to be really, really buggy. The pull silence rebalance to be better at earlier levels, minus 1 second on the last level. Sure, I like it. It was way too strong. Damage rebalance to do less damage at earlier levels, more later. I like it. Again, balanced. Pull speed on allies reduced from 1,000 to 600. Okay, I can dig it. Stone Remnant drop range reduced from 1,400 to 1,100. Okay. Fixed. This is just a bug fix. Bug fix. Magnetized search radius increased by 100. That's awesome. So when you magnetize, if you place down rocks, it used to be if they were in 300 range of a magnetized unit, it would spread magnetize, but now it's 400 range. So it's just, you know, increasing his space control. So overall, I think after all of this, Earth Spirit's buffed and he's broken now. Stone Remnants disappear after 8 seconds instead of 5 after they get magnetized. Sure, whatever. Small change. Okay, Earthshaker. Fissure no longer has unit targeting, no longer blocked by Lincolns. Okay, I don't think this is going to have huge impact at all, but cool. E.T. Aghanim Scepter causes units that are pulled in by Earth Splitter to be disarmed in addition to being slowed. The duration increased from 345 to 456. Natural Order armor reduction increased from, you know, basically better earlier levels. Magic reduction increased as well. Earlier levels is better. Okay, so now we're getting into territory where I haven't looked yet, so... And we're like halfway, not even halfway. Holy God, there's a lot of notes. Alright, Enchantress. Base move speed increased from 310 to 315. Okay, nice buff. Enigma, Midnight Pulse cooldown increased. Sure, I think that's a worthy change. Black Hole max damage rebalanced. So instead of 60, 100, 140, 50, 100, 150, so just making it nicer. Max damage AoE increased, so this means that it's a little bit wider. The center of the hole max damage is a little bit wider. Minimum damage rebalanced from 30, 50, 70 to 20, or 25, 50, 75. Again, small just tweaks. Min damage AoE reduced from 500 to 400. Okay. And mana cost rebalanced. Okay, so higher mana cost, same mana cost, lower. Okay. Weird changes. I don't think they were really necessary. I think Enigma is pretty well balanced. Alright. Chronosphere. Area of effect reduced from 450 to 425. That's minus 50 diameter. Sure. Flying vision area reduced. Ooh, that is significant. Okay. No longer disables passives. Also significant. Effects no longer linger for an extra. Okay. This was a bug, basically. So nice. Just very small nerfs. So I think Faceless Void is still good, but not like broken, right? I like it. Okay. Homing missile max damage increased. Decent chunk. Okay, I like it. Maybe gyrocopters will finally level this ability. Huskar, inner vitality cooldown reduced, so scales downward. Berserker's blood attack speed bonus increased. Okay, or just early levels. Okay, last level is the same. Life break cooldown reduced to 12. All right, damage reduced. Sure. Aghanim Scepter is still okay. All right, good. I like it. Self damage rebalanced to just straight 35%. Okay. Slow duration rebalanced from 5 to 4, 5, 6, and the slow rebalance from 50% to 40, 50, 60. Okay, these are buffs, definitely. This is just overall buffs to Huskar. I like it. It lets him be a bit more useful without being all in, if that makes sense. Because 12-second cooldown on a really good spell, that, even though it's weaker than it used to be, the 12-second cooldown very much makes up for it, especially in early game. Okay, Tornado Flying Vision AoE reduced. I like it. That was the thing I wanted to have happen like forever ago. Tornado damage from 2 times Wex plus Quas to 3 times Wex. So Quas doesn't matter for the damage anymore. Cool. I think that's a nice change. You won't have to put many points into Quas anymore. Even as Quas Wex. Okay, I like it. Dual Breath movement and attack slow rebalance from 30% to 28 up to 40. I like it. Small buff. The following abilities no longer cancel Blade Fury. Chronosphere, Toss, Black Hole, Global Silence, Doom. Blade Fury cooldown from that to going to be lower at the lowest, or at the last level. Okay. Some more very small buffs. Eventually Juggernaut's going to come into meta. He's just being like nudged a little bit every now and then. Mana Leak always removes 5% every level. Jesus. The duration is going to be increased. Okay. And then recall can now affect invulnerable allies, include like Song the South. Okay, that's broken. Blinding like knockback from 250 to 400. Okay, these are actually huge buffs. The first level in Mana Leak now is actually like a godly spell. You're actually gonna cast it now. That's really good. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, Kunkka X cooldown down from 13, scaling down to 11. Small buff-ish sort of thing. Okay. Not really needed, but tweaks. LC enabled in Captain's mode. Okay. Duel no longer disables passives. Okay. Overwhelming odds base damage to decrease by 20. Okay. Press the attack mana cost from scaling to... Okay. Okay. Thank God. So these are nerfs and then in Captain's mode. Thank God. Okay. LC was way too strong, but this is... I like it. I think LC will get picked up for mid lane and maybe even in position 4. So being a farming support, I like it. I think it's cool. We'll see. We'll see what happens with LC in Captain's mode. Okay, Leshrac, Pulse Nova damage increased. Okay, just small buffs to the earlier levels. Aghanim Scepter damage from that to... Okay, so the first level with Ags is like really powerful. Okay, I like it. Pulse Nova activation cost reduced. Sure. Okay, so small buffs to Leshrac. I can dig it. I can definitely dig it. This means his ultimate, it might even be worth picking up at 6 instead of how it used to be, which was just awful until like level 11. Okay, Ice Armor now slows range heals for the full amount. Okay, small buff. LSA cast range increased by 25. Sure, small buff, but I like it. Okay, LSA stun is actually a stun now. Cool. Nice. I like these buffs to Lena. I think this could make her, definitely bring her into the competitive scene. I like it. Earth Spike damage now increased, so same at the last level, but earlier levels actually deal damage. Or earliest level deals greater than 0 damage. Spirit Bear now has 300 mana. Spirit Bear using Hand of Midas now grants XP to the Lone Druid. Okay, huge buff there. This right here is actually huge. This is probably going to be interesting. We might actually see Lone Druid come back as an offlaner who like builds mech standard because of this change. Because the old way it was is that, you know, you'd have to get like arcane boots to be able to use mech, but now he just has mana. So that's cool. I like it. I definitely like it. Okay, so Shapeshift no longer grants 1.5 base attack time. Okay, thank God. Nerf to Shapeshift. Cooldown increased. Nice, okay. Shapeshift speed now increased from 522 to 650. Blech, okay. And it now has a 1.5 second transformation time. Okay. Alright, so they're rebalancing Shapeshift. They're changing the spell. Like, decently. This means he can actually chase people. That's cool. He'll actually be able to fight. He can't just use it as like a haste rune, I'm running away. But, especially because of this as well. So, I think it's a good change. Definitely just rebalances Lycan a little bit. Nothing huge. Okay. Empower no longer removed by spell immunity. Okay. Mana cost increased from 40 to scaling. I don't know how I feel about this one. This one I like. Definitely a good buff. This one is like, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. We'll have to see. I don't think it's like a nerf per se. Maybe it's just to try to counterbalance the fact that now you're, you know, BKB carry is even more of a god or something. Who knows? Mana shield damage absorption rate increased. Way more. Okay, so it used to absorb 50% of the damage, now it takes 60. That's huge. Outgoing speed for Mystic Snake increased to 800. Return speed just, you know, being the same as that. The outgoing speed, cool. Mana Steel increased. Okay, cool buffs. This means Mystic Snake should pretty much never be skipped now, I think. It definitely makes it better in laning phase. And Mana Shield is broken. Alright. Meepo's clones boot item slots now match whichever slot Meepo Prime has. Oh, just small quality of life. Sure. Cool. Leap speed reduced. Sorry, excuse me. From 2k to 1.6k. Sure. Distance rebalanced to be higher at the top end, lower at the bottom end. Okay. So, more tweaks to Mirana, making her a little bit weaker, I think, but we'll see. Nature's Call Treant magic resistance reduced from 20% to 0. Okay, thank God. The trees were just way too strong, but now you can actually kill them with spells. So that's cool. Reaper Scythe added a respawn time penalty from 30% to a constant 30 seconds. Oh my God, that's enormous. That's actually gigantic. Because it would never add over 30 seconds before. Because at max level, your respawn time is 100 seconds, right? And it would, if I'm not mistaken, it might be a bug, but it doesn't actually amplify anything having to do with buying back. So if you like buy back die to Reaper Scythe, it's just going to be the buyback number added on, right? No Reaper Scythe additional. But now it's just constant 30 seconds. So that means that the earlier levels, when you first kill somebody with Reaper Scythe, they're actually just out of it unless they have buyback. That's gigantic. Okay, I like this a lot. Like a lot. Night Stalker. Hunter in the night attack speed increased. Ooh, that's huge. 15 at the top end. That's big. Darkness duration increased to be 40 at the bottom end, scaling up to the same number. Okay, these are good buffs. These are definitely good buffs. We could see Night Stalker make a return for sure with this. This means that like most Night Stalkers nowadays actually skip the level 6 darkness because it's just bad. But now it's actually like worthwhile to grab. 40 seconds is like actually pretty big. So we will see. Ogre Magi base HP increased to 2.5. Okay. Fire Blast damage reduced to be just lower overall. Okay, I like it. 2 times multicast chance increased. Oh my god. Spread interval increased. Okay. Alright, this is big. I think these are overall just huge buffs. Like, the damage is decreased, right? It's decreased. But the chance is huge now. The first, when you ding 6 and you level up multicast, you now have a 40% chance to double multicast. And the stun lasts longer because of the spread change. That's huge. I like it. I really like that change. And this actually lets him, like, exist in the laning phase. Because he has such high health and armor, but, you know, in the past you'd have to eat, like, 3 tangos after just being harassed a little bit. But now it's really good. Okay, cool. Omni-Knight base armor increased by 1. Purification damage area of effect increased by another 20. Okay. Small tweaks making Omni-Knight a little bit better. OD Essence Aura chance to activate increased from just flat 40 now. Sick. Percentage restored now scales. Sure, okay. So it's just reversing what scales about the spell. I like it. Aghanim Scepter Sanity Eclipse now always triggers the mana drain. This is huge. This is a really good buff. The way it used to be, Aghanim Scepter would not be a very good slot effective item compared to other items like Hex, but now it's actually good because it does a little bit less increased damage than a Hex will, but now that it always applies the mana drain, that's actually a really big thing. I think it'll be worth buying now for sure. Okay, Phantom Assassin Blur minimap hide now has the opposite effect and is active when no enemies are near. Okay, so if somebody's nearby, now the minimap icon will show, but if nobody is there, nobody will see the minimap icon. That's cool. I like that change. Okay, Phantom Lancer reworked, so removed from Captain's mode, agility gain reduced from 4.2 to 3.0, base agility increased by 6, base strength increased by 3, Spirit Lance is the same. Phantom Rush. Okay. Passive with cooldown. Triggers when issuing an attack order on an enemy unit outside of attack range. Grants both movement speed and phase until Phantom Lancer strikes its target. Minimum distance to trigger 300. Max distance to trigger scaling. Note illusions also have this passive. If the attack order on the original target is cancelled, the speed bonus is lost. Okay, so if I get this right, this means that when your illusions are issued an attack command on a target, they'll sprint at it. Essentially, they'll just like, you'll get, does it say how much speed? No, it doesn't say how much speed. But essentially, you're just going to like full sprint at something with phase boots until you hit it once. I like that. I like that a lot. That's a cool change. Definitely makes him a lot stronger at actually killing people. You can't just run away from him. I mean, it was hard to run anyway, but like now it's just better. So cool. I like it. Doppelganger. Target an area. Phantom Lancer and all nearby illusions will disappear for 1 second and have their position shuffled into the target area. This also creates 2 illusions of opposite types. Illusion 1 deals 0% damage and takes 100% damage. Deals 20% damage and takes 600% damage, and they both last 8 seconds. Cast range 600, target area radius 325, illusion gather range 900, mana cost 50, cooldown down to 10 seconds, dodges incoming projectiles, allies can see which illusion takes 100%. That's cool. That's really cool. So you can use this as an initiation spell because of the cast range, and just jump on somebody with 3 of you. And even though this deals 0 damage, it'll still have like feedback from Diffusal Blade, and I assume it'll probably spawn illusions, assuming this actually makes, you know, juxtaposes now as ultimate, I guess. So that's cool. I like this. I like this spell a lot, and it's really cool because if somebody hits it with AoE, then there's 2 things that could definitely be the real one. That's really cool. I really do like this. This is a cool spell. Okay, Juxtapose, now it's ultimate. And allows both Phantom Lancer and his illusions to create more. So max illusions up to 10. Duration 8 when created by Phantom Lancer, 4 when created by his illusions. Hero chances up to 50%, so cool. Illusion chance is 8%. Damage taken, damage dealt. Illusions attack the target that the passive triggered on. Okay, cool, cool, cool. I like it. This means that immediately at 6 you actually have illusions, right? You have 6, you have up to 6. 40% chance of triggering when your hero attacks something. And they last 8 seconds, which is small, but I think it's good. I think this could definitely make PL good. The only thing I'm worried about is the agi gain reduced, but we'll see. That's cool. I like it. Phoenix, added Aghanim Scepter, allows Phoenix to cast Supernova on an allied hero, bringing both into the sun to be reborn together. This does not refresh either hero's ultimate. 500 cast range. If the sun is destroyed, both heroes will die. Holy shit. Alright, this is weird. I think it could be really good. It could also be really bad. But if used properly, I think it could be very, very strong in coordinated team fights, but doubt that'll happen. Turn rate improved for Pudge, cool. Small buff. Dream Coil no longer ignores invisible units or illusions, I like it. Scepter Dream Coil Snap Stun now pierces spell immunity. That's the change that's been suggested forever. Snap Stun duration increased with Ags. Blech! Okay, so Ags actually looks really good now. You pretty much absolutely force people to stay by. Because if they snap this, 4.5 second stun that goes through spell immunity. That's insane. You're not ever wanting to snap that. Okay, cool. Nice change. Makes Aghanim Scepter actually seem like a spell. Life Drain can now be targeted on allies, allowing Pugna to drain his own life into them? So does Pugna spits his life into other people, I guess, is what happens? The wording is kind of ambiguous, but I think that's what happens. So, cool. Quap's BAT is improved. Nice. Removed unit targeting from Sonic Wave. I like it. Final AoE increased from 300 to 450. Okay, cool buffs. Cool buffs. I like it. Plasma Field, minimum damage. Oh, it's just smaller minimum damage, max is the same. Cool. Static Link no longer ignores Lincoln Sphere. Cool. That's actually, I think, a good thing. Static Link mana cost from... Okay, so now it's just 50 at all levels. Storm no longer lingers through Aegis Reincarnation. Cool. These are good nerfs, rather. Not buffs. Yeah, I like it. I definitely like it. Okay. Base move speed reduced by 10. Base damage reduced by 10. Base HP reduced to the default. Permanent Invis is now a basic ability. Permanent Invisibility Fade Delay from 321 to 8642. Permanent Invis now provides 4, 5, 6, 7 HP regen while Invis. Regeneration whenever he breaks, not when he's revealed. Okay, cool. Blink Strike is now an ultimate and can target spell immune. Bonus damage from 30, 60, 90, 120 to 50, 70, 90. Okay, now it's 3, 4, 5 charges with a 30-second replenish. Okay. Blink Strike mana cost reduced from 50 to 40 and cast range increased. Wow. All right, so people are probably going to hate on me for this, but like I did come from League of Legends like 3 years ago or something like that, and this reminds me a lot of Akali. This makes me think of Akali a lot. I like it though. This is cool. This means that you can either blow the charges just to kill somebody, right? Just like bonus, 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 right? And get a backstab hit off every time, or you can just use it to constantly chase. Because being able to use it 5 times in a chase is crazy. That would mean that in the current version, you'd have to be chasing for 25 seconds, right? That's really good. And now it hits magic immune, so that's really cool. We'll see how this changes him. It'll make his laning better. It'll make his chasing better. Maybe he'll actually be an assassin now. We'll see. That's cool. Soul Catcher now amplifies damage by 20, 30, 40, 50. instead of, okay, so the same change as Penitence, just actually like amping damage instead of reapplying extra damage. Aghanim Scepter Demonic Purge charges increase from 2 to 3. Cool. Ags might actually be worthwhile now. Because before Ags was just bad, but now, like immediately after it was added, it was bad, but now it actually might be good. Necromastery Soul Cap increased to be higher at lower levels. Cool. Requiem of Souls debuff is now applied when the wave hits units instead of in a slightly smaller area independently. Okay, so just small tweak. And slow increase from 20 to 25. So small buffs for SF along with his remodel. We'll see how that works out. It'll make his landing phase a little bit better. Having an extra 6 damage on level 3 specifically, because like at level 3 you're gonna have raise, 2 in raise and 1 in necromastery. So having 6 extra damage for that window is pretty big. I think. I definitely think it's big. Shadow Shaman Shackles mana cost rebalanced to just be higher, okay, except for the last level. Last level's less, so overall it's higher though. And cooldown increased by 10 seconds. Okay, small tweaks to Shadow Shaman, making him a little bit worse. Glaives of Wisdom % int to damage from that to 84. Oh my god! It's, by the way, it's pure damage in case you're wondering. So you're now gonna deal 84% of your int in pure damage every auto attack. That's bonkers. And Global Silence mana cost from this, so higher at the top end, sure. Jeez, though, they really want glaives to be broken. That's crazy. That is actually crazy talk. Scarith Mage, Concussive Shot, movement slow, rebalanced to actually scale. It's now disjointable. Mystic Flare damage is now dealt over 2.2 seconds instead of 2. Okay. Small nerf-ish sort of things for Scarith. Sure. Slithering Crush stun duration increased. Higher on earlier levels, sure. Slark is no longer visible inside Chronosphere during Shadow Dance. Nice. I like it. Headshot now causes a 0.5 second 100% move speed attack speed slow instead of a 0.25 second stun. Shrapnel AoE increased by 50. Okay, these are neat. I like this change. So it's a 0.5 seconds instead of 0.25. Instead of a stun, it's just MS/AS slow. Still makes last hitting brutal, but it makes running slightly harder, right? Because you're basically gonna have base movement speed. That's what 100% move speed slow means, is that you're gonna have base movement speed, which is 100. So 100 movement speed for 0.5 seconds, you're going to move 50 units instead of however you would over the 0.25. Who knows? We'll see. I think it'd be a good thing. You'll no longer interrupt channeling is the big thing, I think. That's the big difference. But I think landing phase is basically going to be the same, and your chasing potential is going to be higher. So, cool. Spectral Dagger movement speed increased. Just overall buff, like it. Projectile speed reduced. Okay. Just rebalancing Spectral Dagger to be a little bit of a better spell. Spirit Breaker, Charge of Darkness, cooldown reduced to 12 seconds. Cooldown is now triggered when charge hits its target or is cancelled instead of when cast. Okay. Empowering Haste can now be cast to improve the aura by 50% for 6 seconds, 20-second cooldown. After it's used, the aura is 50% weaker while the ability is on cooldown. And greater bash damage from... so it's bigger on lower levels. Okay. These are good buffs. These are definitely good buffs to Spirit Breaker. I don't think he'll be good enough yet. I think he needs just a little bit more, but I think this is bringing him in the right direction, for sure. Because this is basically making him a support hero, right? He has a really, really... Like, he was played support anyway when he was broken. But, like, this makes him more supporty, and this means that he does more with less levels. So, I think it's definitely a step in the right direction for Spirit Breaker. Ball Lightning mana cost per 100 units from 10 plus 1% to 12 plus 0.7. Okay, this is good. This is really, really, really good, because that means once you get higher mana costs, Ball Lightning will be cheaper. So this improves Storm's late game potential a little bit. Cool. While activated, God's Strength grants an allied aura 900 AoE for 40, 60, 80% base damage. Interesting. So he becomes a... If you build Ags, he becomes a walking God Strength aura, along with, you know, amping himself. That's cool. That's really cool. That works really, really well if he's a support. If you go like Blink into Ags, that's really good. I like it. Okay. Techies, landmines cooldown from 25, 20, 15, 10 to just be lower. Stasis stun duration, lower. Activation area now matches stun area. Okay. Duration, just flat 360. Huh. Why'd you... I mean, it still has a 1 second cast, 2 second arm, 2 second trigger. So I think it's still pretty mediocre. Remote mine duration increased from 8 to 10 minutes. Vision reduced, okay. And AoE flat 425. Bat Rider and Firefly Visage familiars no longer trigger or get hurt by landmines. Okay. Just changing techies a little bit. I don't know how I feel about it. I've been playing a bunch of techies. I think this is a good change, like a really good one, as is this. This one's like unnecessary but good. This is weird, definitely weird. And then this is a nerf. So, I'm not sure. I think he'll pretty much be roughly the same though, unfortunately. I don't think this will really have a huge impact on the hero. TA, Psionic Trap cooldown from this to this, so scales to be, you know, lower, sure. TB in Captain's mode, cast point improved for Sunder. Yeah, I don't know about this. I don't know. This is playing with fire right here. Enabling this guy in Captain's mode and buffing him a little. That's playing with fire. I don't know. We'll see. Thunder Anchor Smash is now, you know, actually scales with the damage reduction. Good nerf, definitely good. Grant's Timber saw a second chakram with eggs. The heck? That could be so good. That could be so incredibly good. I like that a lot. That's just unique. This means that you can, like... I don't even know. That's really cool. The only thing I'm worried about is, like, is there a way to pull back one chakram? Like, if you throw out one, can you pull it back, or do you have to throw out the second before pulling the first one back? And does it pull them both back? We'll see how that's handled, but I think this could be really cool. March of the Machines no longer affects spell immune units. Ah, thank God. Alright, Tinker, the one nerf that matters. I like it. Good, perfect, awesome, great. Still can farm non-ancients, can no longer farm ancients. BKB finally does something to Tinker. Good, perfect, great, nice. Nature's Guy's mana cost reduced to 60 at all levels. Eyes in the forest, which allows Treant to enchant trees to... Oh, just turn... It's the old ability he had. So now you can basically place wards. Unobstructed vision. If overgrowth is cast by a Treant Protector, units near the enchanted tree will be ensnared and damaged. If the enemy has True Sight, they will be able to see visual effects on both the affected tree and the AoE. Cast range 160, cooldown 55. How many can he have? Can he just have as many as he wants? Because it has 100 mana cost? Only does damage if it comes from an enchanted tree. This is so cool! This is just cool. I like this. I like it a lot. I really do. I'm really interested to see how that plays out. Maybe core tree, rush eggs. Just make the entire enemy jungle warded. Like, I'm not seeing a max number of trees that you can enchant. So you can literally ward the entire enemy jungle. And then overgrowth, and then everybody in the jungle just takes 1,000,000 damage and is stuck in place for a little bit. That's cool. I like it. Alright. Range Whirling Axe's cooldown decreased, and acquisition range increased. Oh, so this is a small fix to his range form, and this is just a small buff. Cool. Ice Shards no longer stops when it hits a hero. Now travels until the cast location and creates a blockade there. Cast range increased. Ice Shards no longer destroys trees. Snowball bonus speed per hero increased from 75 to 100. Allies can now click This is like a nerf. I think that, like, it's better for nuking. But it's... Oh, no, sorry. At the cast location. So you can choose for... Okay. This is cool. I misread that. So I thought it would just go the 1800 units and then make a blockade. But if you click on the ground 100 units in front of you, it'll create a blockade right there. That is cool. Okay, I like that. Never mind. That's actually a buff. This is a big buff. This part, I don't know, it's unnecessary. And then snowball buffs. Cool. Tusk getting some small buffs. I like it though. Undying. Tombstone area of effect increased pretty significantly. 200 units on all levels. Ag's Flesh Golem damage amplification increased by 5% at all levels, both min and max. Cool. Flesh Golem slow aura increased from 9% to variable from based on the distance to undying. Cool. I doubt Axe will still be picked up, but Tombstone's better, so that's cool. Venge, Nether Swap range increased at lower levels. Neat. Poison Nova applies its debuff to spell immune enemies. This was a thing that I thought should have happened like for a long time. Glad to see it's finally actually there. Corrosive Skin now only affects enemies within 1400 AoE and cannot be reflected multiple times. Damn. Small nerfs to Viper. That's unfortunate. I guess it makes sense though. Stoneform cooldown from 30 to 26. Cool. Small buff. Fatal Bonds now shares the same damage type that is dealt to it before it's reduced. So now it's, if you hit them with a magic spell, instead of it being HP removal on the thing that's linked to it, the link will deal magic, I guess. That's cool. Damage percentage from 20 to 25%. That's big. Golem attack range increased, basically given it the good old Doom buff. Base attack time improved. Jesus, I didn't realize golems had this good of base attack time. That's really good now. Golem HP regen increased to be better. Immolation AoE increased from 250 to 300. And Flaming Fist chance reduced from 60 to 40. So these, I mean, like, this is the only part that's a nerf. I mean, like, this first bit's kind of a nerf, but I think it's still good with the increase in damage that they take. Cool. I like it. I think this is overall going to buff Warlock. It's definitely going to impact him in a positive way. And Upheaval is not nerfed yet, so perfect. Awesome. Good job, Warlock. Keep it up there. Okay, Swarm duration increased higher at lower levels. Shikuchi no longer ignores invis units. Cool. Damage reduced at lower levels. And Geminate attack can now proc items. Crit, best item. Attack cooldown increase, sorry. Cooldown is increased. So, I mean, it's the same up until the last level is 3 seconds instead of 2.5. This is big, though. I think this is good. It allows you to actually, like, build lifesteal and crit, and it'll be good. Cool. Shackle Shot. Max latch distance increased to basically the attack range of a hero. Okay? Windrun duration increased. Ooh, that's a big buff. I like it. Small. I mean, like, maybe not as... It's not huge, but it's big enough at the last level, I think. Cool. Maledict AoE increased a little bit. Death Ward bounces now behave the same as Death Ward attacks with regards to Blade Mail. Oh, I guess it didn't used to. I guess that must have been a bug. Reincarnation mana cost now increased. Good. Static Field AoE increased to 1200. That's really good. Okay. Items. Armlet, going to be 100 gold cheaper. AC no longer displays its debuff on the enemy if the carrier is not visible. Good. Just making it in line with most other auras. Avatar, spell, immunity, duration, and cooldown are now tied to the hero instead of the item. Buying a new Black King bar will not reset avatar duration. Okay. Minimum immunity duration increased from 4 to 5. Okay. So small buff, pretty much. The top thing is almost never relevant, but the bottom one is a small buff. I like it. Blink Dagger, now from 2150 to 2250. Cool. Good. Good. Nice nerf. Definitely still worthwhile to build, but not, like, broken. Now requires Soul Ring and 800 gold recipe instead of Perseverance. So it's cheaper. No longer grants plus 10 damage. I like it. This means Soul Ring builds into something that's actually, like, worthwhile. I think that's cool. That's cool as heck. That makes this item actually legitimately good on Storm Spirit. Because, like, building a Soul Ring is good on Storm Spirit, but since it doesn't build into anything, it's, like, bad. I think this is cool. I like this change. Like, Soul Ring satiates an early game mana hunger, and then Bloodstone is mid to late game mana hunger. I like it. Bottle, gonna be 700 gold instead of 650. Okay. Teleport CD reduced to 50 on boosted travel. Butterfly now has an active ability, Flutter, which can be cast to trade Butterfly's evasion for 20% move speed for 8 seconds. 35-second cooldown. Evasion is lost during the 8 seconds. Okay, cool. That means Butterfly has more uses. Cool. Cloak, Hood, and Pipe magic resist now stack like all other normal magic resistances do. Oh, so you can build like a Hood and Pipe, I guess, and they will stack with each other. Cool. Crimson Guard, new item that is formed from Vanguard and Buckler. Vanguard Buckler recipe 3850 total, provides 250 HP, 6 HP regen, passive damage block, same as Vanguard, 5 armor plus to all stats, active, gives nearby allied heroes 750 range plus 2 armor, and a damage block shell that has 100% chance to block 50 damage, lasts 9 seconds. Holy shit! That's really good. That's actually really good. A Mega Buckler. Okay. Passive damage block gives the wearer a chance to block damage from each incoming attack based on whether the equipped hero... Oh no, that's part of the damage block. Okay. No, only affects heroes. Has the same no stacking mechanic as... Okay. So the active only affects heroes, and it works like Pipe or Mech, where multiple will not stack. So for the... Okay, cool. Cool. Dagon, int bonus per level increased. Same at bottom level, up to +4 on the final one. Energy burst mana cost increased to a flat 180. Interesting rescaling of Dagon. Won't really change anything, I don't think. Diffusal Blade recipe cost reduced by 150. Agility bonus rebalanced from... Okay. So higher agi for level 2, lower for level 1. Feedback rebalanced to a constant 25. That's a little saddening. We'll see. We'll see how that changes. Ether Blast now has a projectile that moves at 1100 speed. Interesting. It always had a visual projectile, but it never actually, like, it was always instant, but it had a visual, like, boo thing. Now only turns the caster ethereal if they target themselves. Cool. Okay, just changing Ethereal Blade a little bit. This is a indirect nerf to Tinker. I think this is also an indirect nerf to Tinker. I like it. I like it both. Frost attack speed slow increased from 35 to 45. Sure. Base move speed increased from 350 to 430. Now takes 50% extra damage from melee heroes. Burst cooldown increased from 40 to 90. Speed burst duration reduced from 20 to 4. Flanker increased from 52 to 650. Weird. This is just weird. I think this is a small nerf to Bottle Crowing. Maybe a big nerf, actually. Like, it moves significantly faster for a lot less duration is the thing. You might actually just save burst, because as it is now, you just kind of hit burst if it's off cooldown, right? But now you might actually save burst for when it's relevant. So, and it is slight nerf to Bottle Crowing as well. I like it. Now provides +3 HP regen to match its components. Dominated units now have 250 bonus HP. Cool. Small buffs. HP regen increased from 8 to 9 to match its components. Yup. Lincoln Sphere only blocks Wrath of Nature's initial bounce and not subsequent bounces. Only blocks Lightning Storm's initial bounce. No longer triggers... That used to trigger Lincoln Sphere? That... Okay. Lightning Bolt now triggers Lincoln Sphere when targeted at the ground. Damn. Small nerf to Lightning Bolt. Maelstrom and Mjolnir no longer trigger Lincoln Sphere. Interesting. Maelstrom recipe cost increased. Good. It's still too strong of a spell. Or of an item. I think it's still too strong even after this nerf. Manta Style. Mirror image vision type change from Oh, it granted a brief like flying vision. Okay, cool. Recipe cost reduced. Okay, small. Just I mean, this is a buff, is what it is. So, recipe cost reduced. Okay, Mask of Madness becoming a better item every day. Mech restore mana cost increase from 150 to 225. Good. Okay. Good. Mech is a really like it's actually overpowered, so I'm glad it got nerfed. It's not like oppressively overpowered, but it is too strong. So I think this nerf is definitely warranted, and it's a good thing. Pipe of Insight HP regen increased to match its components. Reset cooldown increased from 160 to 185. Okay, makes Refresher a little bit worse. I like it. Ring of Protection now gives a little bit more armor, but increase in gold cost. Okay. Does this mean that like Basie and stuff will have increased armor, or is that going to stay the same? I think that might stay the same, considering I don't see it here. True Sight AoE increased by 50. Good little small tweak to Sentry Ward. Shadow Walk invisibility break damage increased from 150 to 175. Good buff to Shadow Blade. Still definitely not enough. Definitely. Shiva's Guard. Freezing aura no longer displays its debuff on the enemy if the carrier is not visible. Again, moving in line with all the other aura things. TP gold cost reduced from 135 to 100. This is big. This is actually big. I like that. Like a lot. Like it sounds like it's not a lot. Oh, 35, one last hit. Think about how many town portals you buy in a game, right? It's a lot. It's a big deal. Okay. A few abilities and damage type mechanics have been reworked. There are now 3 primary damage types and spell immunity. Okay. So there's no more composite? Where's composite? If the damage type is not magical, it will... Oh, so it also changes... Cool. Okay, so this is making it a little bit different. So it's a bit more intuitive to newer players. Oh, so these are like composite. Okay. Acid spray damage type from composite to physical. Okay. Acid spray damage reduced because of that, sure. Nightmare damage from HP removal to pure. Okay. Wild Axe's composite to physical. That was already touched on. Why was this one touched on but the rest weren't? That's bizarre. Pulverized damage type from magical that pierces spell immunity to magical, no longer pierces immunity. So pulverize is just the proc on earth auto attack, dealing more damage. Okay, doom damage type from magical that pierces spell immunity to pure that pierces spell immunity. Doom damage reduced. Aghanim Scepter also reduced. Okay, so this is also kind of, sort of, not really indirect nerfs actually to Doom. This is like basically the same thing. Echo Slam initial attack is now the same magic damage type as the rest of its damage. No longer pierces immunity. Damn. Midnight Pulse damage type changed from magical that pierces immunity to pure that pierces immunity. And it's rescaled because of that. So these, it's just changing all these basically. Negative regen instead of HP removal. I think this is like the biggest change. This is another one. Okay, I guess some of these are like a little bit bigger than I thought. Edict damage is essentially going to be, it's just reduced but then deals more damage to towers to be the same as before to towers. Okay. Landmines are now just physical. And wait, yeah, the damage is reduced because of that, sure. Suicide Squad attack, damage type from composite to physical. Damage is going to be reduced as well. Okay. Interesting. Definitely, I think these are the bigger changes to techies than the previous stuff. I think the biggest change to this is that physical spells can actually be blocked, unless that was changed in that giant block of text that I missed, because normally you wouldn't be able to block landmines because they weren't technically physical, but you can like block some physical spells, like with Stout Shield. I don't know if that's actually going to be relevant here, but it's worth thinking about. Yep. We've teared. So there's no more HP removal, which is kind of bothering to me. That means you can't actually salve through anything unless it does too low of damage. Interesting. From pure to magical. Ew. I guess that's a nerf and I like it. Although the damage is increased to compensate, so maybe not a big nerf, but changed from HP removal to pure on Earn. Does that mean Earns will cancel each other? Whichever Earn ticks first, if a positive and negative buff, it'll get rid of the... Well, no, I guess just the negative one will kill the positive one. That's like a small buff to aggressive earning. There are no longer any abilities which use composite. No more any of that. And some small stuff that I'm not going to go over because this has already run super long. Holy God, 75 minutes. That's a lot of things. There's new bots, though, so that's neat. But, you know, thanks everyone for watching. And holy shit, this ran a lot longer than I thought. There were a lot of changes in this patch. I guess it's a good thing. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.